Welcome students. We are into our second lecture of machine design subject, and the subject code of this subject is ME303. We are into unit 1 and the lecture is lecture number 2. The topic which we are going to discuss today is the aesthetic considerations of design as well as the ergonomics. These two are very important topics to be discussed in the machine subject today, and we will discuss it today itself. So, I am Shri Krishna Mishra, Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering Department at Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur, and I welcome you all. So, let's start today's lecture. First of all, what are the lecture objectives of today's lecture? Let's have a look on that. The objective of today's lecture is first to understand the concept of ergonomics. All right, what is ergonomics? This is very important to know. So that is our first objective. Then after, the second objective is to study about the design procedure. The third objective is to understand the importance of aesthetic considerations. And what is aesthetic consideration? That is also an important term and we should know about it. So that is our third consideration. And the fourth consideration is to develop a learning about designing a machine element. All right. So what are the different learnings important for designing a machine element? That is our core objective of this particular subject. So basically we are going to deal with the key terms like ergonomics, aesthetic considerations, and apart from that we will also discuss somewhat about our design synthesis and standardization. So without any delay, let's start today's topic now. Aesthetic means this is related to the looks, design, aesthetic looking. This is related to the whatever that is visible, that comes under aesthetic considerations. Each product has a definite purpose. It has to perform specific functions to the satisfaction of the customer. The contact between the product and the people arises due to sheer necessity of this functional requirement. The functional requirement of an automobile car is to carry 4 passengers at a speed of 60 km per hour. There are people in cities who want to go to their office at a distance of 15 km in 15 minutes, so they purchase a car. The specific function of a domestic refrigerator is to preserve vegetables and fruits for a week. There is a housewife in the city who cannot go to the market daily and purchase vegetables. Therefore, she purchases the refrigerator. It is seen that such functional requirements bring products and people together. However, when there are a number of products in the market having the same quantity of efficiency, durability, and cost, the customer is attracted towards the most appealing product. The customer is attracted towards the most appealing product. External appearance is an important feature which not only gives grace and luster to the product but also dominates its sale in the market. This is particularly true for consumer durables like automobiles, household appliances, and audiovisual equipment. This thing has given rise to a separate discipline known as industrial design. The job of an industrial designer is what? It is to create new forms and shapes which are aesthetically pleasing. All right. The growing realization of need of aesthetic consideration in product design has given rise to a separate discipline which is known as industrial design. The job of an industrial designer is to create new forms and shapes which are aesthetically pleasing. The industrial designer has therefore become the fashion maker in hardware. Like in fashion, the outward appearance of a product undergoes many changes over the years. There are 5 basic forms: step, stream, taper, shear, and sculpture. The step form is similar to the shape of a skyscraper or multi-story building. This involves shapes with a vertical ascent rather than a horizontal. The stream or streamline form is seen in automobiles and aeroplane structures. The taper form consists of tapered blocks interlocked with tapered plinths or cylinder. The shear form has a square outlook, which is suitable for freestanding engineering products. The sculpture form consists of ellipsoids, paraboloids, and hyperparaboloids. The sculpture and stream forms are suitable for mobile products like vehicles, while step and shear forms are suitable for stationary products. There is a relationship between functional requirement and appearance of the product. Functional requirements result in shapes which
Welcome
are
students, we
aesthetically
are into
pleasing.
our second
The
lecture of
evolution
the
of
subject strength of
streamlined
materials,
shapes of the
or we can
Boeing
say
is a
mechanics of
result
solid.
of studies in
Now
aerodynamics for
in this we are going to
effortless
discuss about
speed.
the Hooke's law.
The robust
Hooke's law,
and
as I
sound
have already told
proportions
you
of a
in
high
our first
capacity
lecture, I have told you
hydraulic
what is
press are the
stress, what
results
is
of
strain, the
requirements
types
like
of stress,
rigidity
and the strain
strength.
developed due to that
The
stress
objective
acting.
of
So that
chromium
all things I have
planting
told
of
to
the
you. Now
parts
in the
of
second
household
lecture,
appliances
I am going to
is
tell you about
corrosion
Hooke's law.
resistance rather than
So
pleasing appearance.
according to the Hooke's
Of
law,
proper
the
color
stress
is an important
directly
consideration
proportional
in
to
product
strain within the
aesthetics.
elastic limit.
Alright, the choice
So elastic limit,
of color
as I have already
should
told
be
you, when a
compatible with
material
the
is
conventional ideas
stretched, means
of the
if
operator.
the tensile load
Many
is
colors
acting
are
on it.
associated
If the
with
material
different moods
on the
and
removal of
conditions.
the tensile load returns
Morgan
back to its original
has-
shape, then
Morgan has already
this property is known as
Morgan-
elasticity. But the
you all know-
maximum limit up to which it can be extended so
Morgan
that it
suggested the
gets
following
returned to its original position after the
meaning of
after the
colors.
removal of
There
the
is
load,
some meaning of
that is
colors
known
also.
as
Red,
its
yes,
elastic
just
limit.
like red.
So within
Red
elastic
refers
limit,
to
stress is
danger
directly
hazard.
proportional
Orange
to
refers to
strain.
possible
This is
danger. Yellow
the
caution. Green
this
safe.
is the law
These are
given by
the
Hooke's. So it is known
suggestions
as
of the
Hooke's
color
law.
given by
Normal
Morgan.
stress we
Now the
denoted by
external,
sigma
the
is
external
directly
appearance
proportional
of
to
the
normal
product does
strain,
not
which is
depend
denoted by either
upon
E or
only the
epsilon.
two factors of
Then-
form and color.
In the same way,
The
in normal
cumulative
stress we consider the
effect
tensile stress
of a
and
number of
compressive
factors
stress. And
such as rigidity
apart from that,
and
if we are discussing
resilience.
about strain
Also
shear
tolerances
stress also,
and
so in that
surface
case also
finish
shear stress
and
is directly
motion
proportional
of
to
individual
shear strain.
components,
Shear stress
materials,
is directly
manufacturing
proportional
methods,
to
and
shear strain.
noise.
But in that
The
case, shear
industrial
stress, we all know
designer
it is
should
denoted by
select a
tau,
form
and
which
shear
is in
stress
harmony with
strain
the
is
functional
denoted by
requirement
gamma.
of product.
So tau is directly proportional
The
to
economics
gamma.
and
Now, if we
availability of
remove this
surface
proportional
treating
sign,
process
if we remove this
like
proportional sign, we
anodizing,
will use a
plate,
constant here.
blackening,
We will use a
and
constant here.
painting
We will use a
should be
constant which is
taken
known as
into
elastic
account
constant.
before
Its
finalizing
name
the
here in case
external
of normal stress,
appearance
its
of
name
the
is given as
product.
Young's modulus.
So
This is known
as you
as
can see,
Young's modulus
an
or
important
modulus of
factor,
elasticity.
aesthetic
It is either known
appearance
as
is
Young's
an
modulus or
important
modulus
factor
of
while designing
elasticity.
any.
It is either
product.
known as
So after the completion of this, the second consideration after the completion of this aesthetic considerations, there are many considerations which are taken or considered while designing. So in that I have told about the aesthetic considerations, and now it comes on the ergonomic considerations. What is ergonomics? Ergonomics in general words we can say it is the relationship between the man and the machine. Means for example, if there is a machine, then how comfortably the human uses it, that comes under the ergonomic considerations of its design. In it, generally the things that are concerned are, we can take for considering it, for understanding it, we can take the example of a car. In car, the driver's seat as well as steering as well as the gear system all should be in a proper position, so that while driving the car the driver does not feel any problem. Even the driver's seat should be comfortable, he should not face any problem while riding the car, while driving the car. Similarly, the display panel as well as the instrument dials, the position of these all accessories of the car should be in such a position so that the operator can easily see it. Now, uh, I hope you have understood. Let's go deep into this topic. Ergonomic is defined as the relationship between man and machine, and the application of anatomical, physiological, and psychological principles to solve the problems arising from man-machine relationship. The word ergonomics is coined from two Greek words, ergon, which means work, and nomos, which means natural laws. Ergonomics means the natural laws of work. From design considerations, the topic of ergonomics studies are as follows. First, anatomical factors in the design of a driver's seat. Second, layout of instrument dials and display panels for accurate perceptions by the operator. Third, design of hand levers. Third is the design of hand levers and hand wheels. Fourth is the energy expenditure in hand and foot operations. And fifth is lighting, noise, and climatic conditions in machine environment. So these are the four topics of ergonomic studies. Now ergonomics have carried ergonomists like the scientists who used to find something new. Similarly, those who study ergonomy are known as ergonomists. So ergonomists have carried out experiment to determine the best dimension of a driver's seat, the most convenient hand or foot pressure or dimensions of lever and hand wheels. Now the machine is considered as an entity in itself in design process. However, economists consider a man-machine joint system forming a closed loop. As you can see, from display instruments, the operator gets the information about the operation of the machine. If he feels that a correction is necessary, he will operate the levers or controls. This in turn will alter the performance of the machine, which will be indicated on display panel. The contact between man and machine in this closed loop system arises at two places: display instrument, which gives information to the operator, and controls, which the operator adjusts the machine. All right. Now the visual display instruments are classified into three groups. First is displays giving quantitative measurements such as speedometer, voltmeter, and energy meter. Second, displays giving the state of affairs such as the red lamp indicator. Third, displays indicating predetermined settings. Example, a lever which can be set at 1440 rpm or 720 rpm or off positions for a 2-speed electric motor. Now, the moving scale or dial type instruments are used for quantitative measurements, while lever type indicators are used for setting purposes. The basic objective behind the design of display minimize fatigue to the operator who has to observe them continuously. The ergonomic considerations in the design of display are as follows. First, the scale on the dial indicator should be divided in suitable numerical progressions like 0 to 20 to 20, 30, like this, and not in this way 0, 5, 30, 55. It should be continuous 0, 10, 20, 30 in this way, not in 0, 5, 30 or 55. This is what? This is the scale on the dial indicator division. Now the number of subdivisions between number divisions should be minimum. The subdivisions should be minimum. Third, the size of letters or numbers on the indicator should be as follows. Height of the letter or number should be greater or equal to reading distance divided by 200. This should be the standard that should be used for the size of letters or numbers on the indicators. Fourth is what? Fourth is vertical figures should be used for stationary dials, while radially oriented figures are suitable for rotating dials. Alright. Vertically figures should be used for stationary dials, while radially oriented figures are suitable for rotating dials. Fifth point, the pointer should have a knife edge with a mirror in the dial to minimize parallax error. So you can understand that there is a problem of parallax error also. The control used to operate the machine consists of levers, cranks, hand wheels, knobs, switches, push buttons and pedals. Most of them are hand operated. When a large force is required to operate the controls, levers and hand wheels are used. When the operating forces are light, push buttons or knobs are preferred. The ergonomic considerations in the design of control are as follows. First, the control should be easily accessible and logically positioned. The correct operation should involve minimum motions and avoid awkward movement. Second, the shape of the control component which comes in contact with hands should be in conformity with the anatomy of human hands. Third, proper color products beneficial psychological effects. There should be the use of proper color products. Proper color produces beneficial psychological effects. The controls should be painted in red color in the gray background of machine tools to call for attention. The aim of ergonomics is to reduce the operational difficulties present in a man-machine joint system and thereby reduce the resulting physical and normal stresses. The shape and dimensions of certain machine elements like levers, cranks, and hand wheels are decided on the basis of ergonomics studies. The resisting force, that is the force exerted by the operator without using fatigue, is also determined by ergonomic considerations. So I hope this ergonomic topic you have understood. So two considerations, one is the aesthetic consideration and the second is the ergonomic consideration. I hope you have understood these two. Then comes the concurrent engineering. Now what is this concurrent engineering? This is also important to understand. Concurrent design process is sequential where the main activities are executed in a sequence. It begins with a market survey with the objective of finding out the requirements of the customer. This information is then handed over to the design department in the form of a product brief. The design department prepares the design and makes a few prototype samples for testing. The assembly and detailed drawings are then prepared and passed onto the production department for their approval. Usually, the production department suggests changes in the design from manufacturing considerations and the drawings are sent back to the design department. This process of sending the drawing by the design department to the production department and from the production department back to the design department continues till the design is finalized, and in between valuable time is lost. Engineers who design new products and manufacturing personnel who have to figure out how to make the products are often at odds between, or they are often at odds because of their different backgrounds and point of view. Many times, designers are creative artists who overlook the capabilities of the plant machinery. Manufacturing engineers, on the other hand, are realistic. They prefer standard materials, simple manufacturing methods, standard components, and a few of them as possible. Due to the difference in background, many a times due to the difference in background, many a times the designer comes up with a new product and throws it over the wall to the manufacturing personnel who says we can't make this. Then there is a lot of fingers pointing. In the sequential design process, the production department suggests a number of design modifications after the design is finalized. In past, this has resulted in time-consuming redesigns and missed time schedules in a number of projects. Personality conflicts and departmental barriers often create more problems. Due to these reasons, sequential design is often called over the wall design. So you can understand, in recent years, there is a fundamental shift in the way the designs are prepared. The sequential design process is being replaced by simultaneous or concurrent engineering, where various activities are carried out in parallel instead of in series. The trend is to bring the design and manufacturing activities together as a single engineering discipline. Concurrent engineering is defined as the design process that brings both design and manufacturing engineers together during the early phases of design process. So what is concurrent engineering? Concurrent engineering is defined as the design process that brings both design as well as manufacturing engineers together during the early phases of design process. In this process, a team of specialists examines the design from their different angles. The specialists include a manufacturing engineer, tool engineer, field personnel, reliability engineer, and safety engineer. They consider various aspects of the product such as feasibility, manufacturability, assembly, testability, performance, reliability, maintainability, safety, and cost. All these aspects are simultaneously considered early in the design stage. For example, manufacturing and assembly is manufacturing and assembly is simultaneously considered with a stress analysis. This results in a small number of modifications in the design at the later stage and reduces the time interval for the conceptual stage to the marketing stage. It reduces the time interval, as you can see in the diagram also. This is the diagram. Design engineering at the same time simultaneously is interrelated with all the departments of the organizations, from the manufacturing department and testing department to the customer's requirement. They are simultaneously in touch with all these things: sales and servicing, cost, ergonomics and appearance, and after this, reliability, maintainability, and safety. So they are interrelated with everyone. So this was concurrent engineering. An example also, let's take an example also. An example of a company making measuring instrument is interesting. For example, USA, there is a company known as Keithley Instruments in USA, Solon. They applied the concept of concurrent engineering in development of a digital multimeter. The number of parts in the new department's new instrument, the number of parts in the new instruments were reduced from 131 to a very minimum 76. Means they created a large reduction in the need of the number of parts of the instruments. The number of assembly screws were also reduced from 30 to 8, and assembly time was also reduced by 35%, requiring only one screwdriver instead of multiple assembly tools. So lot of benefit this company benefited from this concurrent engineering concept. So this is a very important concept and it should be applied. Now coming into the design synthesis. Design synthesis is also an important word used in machine design. Now what is design synthesis? Basically, design synthesis is defined as the process of creating or selecting configurations, materials, shapes and dimensions for a product. So the whole process is starting from getting a desired configuration, then the required material for the design product, then the shape of this shape that should be of the product, and as well as the dimensions for the product. These all, the creation and selection, the creation or selection process of these all configuration, materials, shapes and dimensions for any product is known as your design synthesis, As you can see, there is a diagram also. First of all comes the objective of the designing, then comes the mathematical formulation, and then all the designs are optimized. The design is optimized whether it is able to get the desired output or not. So this is your design synthesis. This is basically what your design synthesis. All right. So design synthesis means it is the synthesis of material, configuration, shapes and dimensions. And synthesis is basically the word given for creating or selecting any configuration, material, shapes or dimensions. All right. So I hope you have understood what is this design synthesis. Now coming into the standardization. Standardization is basically what I have also discussed this in a small amount in our first lecture also, but now just it is very important to elaborate it. Standardization is defined as obligatory norm, means it is a compulsory norm, means this is a norm that has to be followed by each and every organization which is manufacturing any product. All right, so it has to it is very important to follow the standards, and these standards are known as standardization. This standard setting of a standard is known as standardization. These are the obligatory norms to which various characteristics of a product should conform with. Means the product should be in conformity with these standards which are set. Now what are these standards? These standards are company standards, means the standards set within the company. All the department within the company will have to follow those standards. These standards are known as service standards. These standard, one of the example of these standards is service standard. One of the example of these standards are service standards. All right. Then apart from this, there are other standards also, like the standard which are followed in whole of the country is known as national standard. The standards which are followed in whole of the country, anywhere within the country, they are known as national standards. Like for example, in India we have IS standard, IS. All right. we have IS standard or DIN standard. So these are also the example of national standards. Then after, there are standards which have to be followed by whole of the world, means any country in the world will have to follow the standards which have been regulated or which have been given by international standard. And these, for example, you would have heard about ISO. ISO is the standard, international standard given for some respective fields. So these are the three standards. First was the company standard, second is the national standard, and third is the international standard. In the company standard, the example of company standard is the service standard. Those standards which are followed within the company are known as company standards. Alright, service standard is one of its example. Then those standards which can be followed anywhere within the country, they are known as national standards. So one of the example of this standard is IS or DIN. Then there are some standards which can be followed, which has to be followed all over the world. They are known as international standards, and the example of such standards are, one example is ISO standard. You would have heard ISO 9001 in this type of standard. You would have heard in your, till now you would have heard this. Then what are basically standard? What will be the definition of a standard? A standard is set of specifications for part, process or materials. A standard says basically it is a set of specifications for parts, either parts or materials or the processes. What is a standard? Standards is the set of specifications for either parts or materials or the processes. All right, and basically all the rules and regulations which have been made for the designing or production or manufacturing of any part or the material or the process, that is known as the standards. All right, and standard is very different from the codes. What are codes? Code is a different thing, though it may look similar to each other, but they are different to each other. What are codes? Codes are set of specifications for analysis, design and testing of any product. These codes are the specifications, either the rules or regulations for analysis, design and testing. For analysis, design and testing, codes are given. What for what part? For analysis, number 1, for designing, number 2, and for testing, number 3. For these three things, analysis, design and testing, the word given is codes. And for the specification sets for parts, materials or processes, for number 1 parts, second material and the third processes. The specification given for these parts, materials and processes are known as standards. So both are very different to each other. Standards and codes are different from each other. All right. Codes stands for analysis, design and testing, and standards stand for material, parts or processes. Material, parts or processes. I hope you have understood these three standards: one company, second national, third international standard. Basically, what is a standardization? It is an obligatory, it is a compulsory norm which has to be followed by any organization or any company or within whole of the world, to which the characteristic of a product should conform to which the characteristic of any product should conform to. These are the standardization. Standards and codes are different from each other. Standards are material, parts and processes, and codes are analysis, design and testing specifications. Specification given for analysis, design and testing. Now coming into the again, in standardization, the characteristics in standardization include material, dimension and shape of the component, and it can also be method of testing and method of marking, packaging and storing of the product. So see, these many things come under standardization: materials, dimensions, shape and method of testing and method of marking, packing or storing of the product. And the standard is what? It is a set of specifications for parts, materials or process, set of specifications for part, materials or process. Now standard for material, let's look into the standard for material. For example, one standard is IS 210. This is the standard set for strength property, like FG 150, FG 200 and FG 220. These are the standard. Then we have IS 570 standard. This is for chemical composition. Then we have standards for shapes and dimensions, like for example IS 2494, IS 2494. This is the standard set for dimensions and cross section. This is the standard set for dimensions and cross sections of V belt. All right. So there are multiple standards. Some of the examples I have given to you. Then there are standards for fits and tolerance and surface finish also. There are standards for fits, tolerances and surface finish also. For fit, the standard is IS 2709. These standards gives you guide for selection of fit. Then for tolerance, you have the standard IS 919. It gives you recommendation for limits and fits for engineering purposes. Then the third, for surface texture, the standard is IS 10719. This is the standard for surface texture. So as you can see, for different features, for different things, you have different standards. Fits, tolerance, surface textures, there are different standards for all of these. Now the standard for testing of product are for testing of pressure vessels. You have IS 2825. These are the standards for testing of pressure vessels. Then for standards for engineering drawing of the components, for this also you have a standard, and the standard for engineering drawing of component is SP46. SP46 is the standard for engineering drawing of the component, and it is given by BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, and it is given for engineering drawing. So these were all the different fields in which the standards are taken. All right, and IS standard, I have already told you, these are the Indian standards. These are the Indian standards, national standard. These are the national standards, IS. So for different fits, there are different standards. Tolerances, there are different standards. Surface textures, again under a certain code, the standards are given to you. Then for testing, there are some standards. Then for engineering drawing, for drawing purposes also, there are standards given to you. There are standards given to you. Now we have to. Now what are the advantages of standardization? Let's have a look on that. The advantages of standardizations are as under. First, the advantage first is reduction in types and dimensions of identical components. Due to follow of standardization, always there is reduction in dimensions and types of identical components. Means you will not find many number of components. Variety, there will not be a very much variety of components which are frequently used in the product. Then the second one is reduced manufacturing facilities required for individual organization. Therefore, the manufacturing facilities, since there is a reduction in types and dimension of individual component, therefore there is reduced manufacturing facilities required for individual organizations. Then comes easy replacement and availability. There is easy replacement of the parts. Why? Because some standard has been followed, and therefore you can get particular spare part anywhere. Because some standards are set, and therefore you can get a particular part of that particular dimension easily in the market if you have any problem. So there is easy replacement and availability of any spare part whichever you need. Then next one is welcome student. So what is the third point? Easy replacement and availability, and the fourth point is reduced designer task. Means the designer task is also reduced because he doesn't have to involve his mind in getting the shapes and dimensions, because these shapes and dimensions have got some standards. So he can't alter those standards. And the last one is, the last advantage is improved quality and reliability. Improved quality and reliability. Improved quality and reliability of the product. Now, I hope you have understood all the advantages. Now coming into the whole procedure. Now let's summarize the whole procedure of design of machine element. DME stands for design of machine element. DME is what? DME is design of machine element. So first is specify first of all the function which you need. If you need a function for reducing the friction between the two parts, then bearing will be used. If you want something like shock absorbing, you need a spring, and if you want to join the two parts, you need screw fastening. So first is to specify the function. First is to specify the function of that particular, what is the need, what is your function that you aspire to do, that you are thinking to do. Then second is the force that will be involved in it. Means the second step is the force determination. So for that, what you do, you draw the free body diagram of the object that is you are manufacturing, and you assess all the forces that act on it, and you assess all the forces that you act on it, all the forces. So this is the second part, which is known as force determination. This is known as force determination. In the third part, what you do, in the third step, what you do, there is selection of the material. After the force has been determined and the function has been assessed, function has been decided, then the third comes the selection of the material. The selection of the material depends on many points. What are those points? Some of those points, as I have already discussed with you. One is the availability of the material. If the material is easily available, then it will be cheap, and therefore the product will be cheap. And therefore this is an important, availability is one of the consideration. Then second is the manufacturing consideration. Manufacturing consideration means what? If the material can be easily manufactured or machined, then in that case that will be preferred. Why? Because this will reduce the manufacturing cost of the product. And third is the properties. The desired properties are considered, and whichever is suits to our function, that particular product having that property is considered. Then the fourth step is failure criteria. Failure criteria means we will have to first of all judge that what will be the reason by which the material will fail during its regular use. So either it is a failure due to elastic deflection, or it is failure due to general yielding, or it is failure due to fracture. So whichever failure is there, on the basis of that we will have to decide which failure is can be there. So that is also an important criteria. Failure criteria is also an important criteria. Failure can either be from elastic deflection, it can be by plastic deformation, means general yielding, or it can be by fracture, like in case of brittle materials, where the material failed directly get broken into two parts without any yielding. So that is fracture. And the next one is what? Next one is geometry and dimension. Means next we have to decide, next step is to decide the geometry and dimension of the product that we are going to manufacture. So the dimension and geometry is decided on many things, like the operating conditions, where it has to be used. If it is to be used where lot of persons are involved, will have to use it, then in that case designing should be in such a way that safety considerations are taken on it. And the second is geometry is also decided on the basis of failure criteria. Geometry is also decided on the basis of failure criteria. And the last step is after analyzing each and every step, if during its optimization, during its whenever we make any design, at last if any modification is needed, then design modification is the last step. In design and modification, assembly and manufacturing considerations are taken. What are the considerations which are taken in design modifications? Assembly and manufacturing considerations are taken in design modifications. So these were the steps that are taken in procedure in design of machine element. And in short, again, what are the basic requirement of machine element? Since we have discussed it, let's see. First is a material should have good strength, it should be rigid, it should be wear resistant, all right, it should have minimum dimensions and weight, it should have the property of manufacturability. This means that it should be easily manufactured. All right, then it should follow all the safety standard. It should follow all the standards, conformity to various standards. It should be safe, it should follow all the standards, and it should be reliable. It should be maintainable, means there should not be any problem in its maintenance. And finally, it should have minimum life cycle cost. It should have minimum life cycle cost. A machine consists of machine elements. Each part of a machine which has motion with respect to some other part is known as machine element. All right, in order to achieve this objective, the machine element should satisfy the following basic requirement, which I have told you right now. Now let's discuss some multiple choice questions. Question number 1. The design process brings both design and manufacturing engineers together during the early phases of design process is known as this has been already discussed, that the design process which takes advice, which takes instructions, or which takes everyone simultaneously is known as concurrent engineering. Concurrent engineering is the desired type of engineering in which all the different design department, like design department, manufacturing department, purchase department, all right, or sales department, these all customers, these all are the views of all those, the suggestions of all and everyone is taken simultaneously. This eases time. Why? Because if a concurrent engineering is not followed, you will have to move from one department to other, from the other department to the third one, and in this way it will be a long process. And if you simultaneously take the suggestion of each and every department, then that particular thing is known as concurrent engineering. So option C is the correct answer. Option C is the correct option. Now coming into the next MCQ, the consideration concerned with looks of component is referred as we have discussed already, that the designing considerations which are concerned with the looking or appearance of any component is known as its aesthetic consideration, So as you see that option B has this answer, aesthetic consideration. So B is the correct answer. B is what? B is your correct answer. B will be your correct answer. Now coming into the MCQ number 3, the relationship between man and machine. What is the relationship between man and machine called? What is the relationship between man and machine called in designing? This is known as ergonomics. Ergonomics is basically what? It is the relationship between man and machine. Relationship means that, for example, as I have already told you, if you purchase a car, then what generally you see the sitting posture, where you sit, means if you are sitting here and if the steering is not comfortable, it is not easily available within your hands, then this particular thing is known as there is bad relationship between man and machine, between you and the car. Means this particular thing is discussed in ergonomics part of designing. All right, again, if the steering it is not near to you, then also that is not an easy, or that is not considered as a good design. Why? Because the ergonomics has not been considered there. The other thing is that the sensors and the dials all should be within your vision. You should not find it difficult to view these all things. So this relationship between man and machine is known as ergonomics. Coming into the fourth point, the fundamental deviation for shaft is known as, we all know that fundamental deviation for shaft is known as, it is given by small g. All right. Then coming into the next MCQ, permissible variation in the dimension of the component is called as, the permissible variation in the dimension of the component is called as, we all know that tolerance is basically what? Tolerance is the permissible, means the variation given, which is the variation that is permitted in the dimension of the component, that is known as tolerance. Then comes the next MCQ number 6, which always provides a positive clearance between the hole and the shaft over the entire range of tolerance. So we all know that clearance fit give you the positive tolerance between the shaft and the hole. Next, the total grades of tolerance. We all know that there are total 18 grades of tolerance. So option B is the correct answer. Coming into MCQ number 8, which always provides a positive interference over the whole range of tolerance. So if there is positive interference, this means that there is interference fit. So option A is the correct answer. Coming into the next MCQ number 9, when two parts are to be assembled, the relationship from the difference between their sizes before assembly is known as fits. Fits is what? It is the relationship from the difference between the sizes before assembly. All right, so answer B is correct answer. Now coming into the last 10th MCQ, the fundamental aviation for hole is denoted by, we all know it is denoted by capital H. So C is the correct answer. Now the student go through the whole of the video, and also you can also refer some books from which the content has been made for you. The references are the Element of Machine Design book by Pandya and Shah, the Design of Machine Element by V.B. Bhandari, Tata McGraw-Hill publication, then Mechanical Machine Design by R.C. Bahl and Goyal, then Mechanical Engineering Design by Shingle, and Machine Design by Pujara. So these are the references books you can consider. Thank you, student. I hope you have understood each and every point discussed today in today's lecture. Thank you and have a nice day.